Hey everyone, so today we're going to look at metals revision for the second year, so it's following on from the content covered in the first year. So just to recap, what you needed to know from the first year content was be able to explain the difference between ferrous, non-ferrous and alloyed metals. You need to be able to give examples of each one of those categories as well, and then on top of that you need to be able to give some real life applications of those metals and why they are appropriate. So just a little recap. So there are the three categories of metals: your ferrous, your non-ferrous, and your alloys. So we'll do ferrous and non-ferrous first. So ferrous metals contain iron, so they are Fe in the periodic table. So typically those are your cast irons, your steels, things like mild steel, medium steel, carbon steel. And then your non-ferrous metals do not contain iron, so they're Nfe on the periodic table. So that is aluminium, copper, lead, tin and zinc. Now the next category, alloys, they can be either ferrous or non-ferrous depending on what it is. So an alloy is a mixture of two, sometimes more metals joined together to make a new metal. So your ferrous alloys were things like stainless steel, high-speed steel and tool steel. And then your non-ferrous alloys are things like your brass, bronze and beryllium. So brass, for example, is made up of copper and zinc joined together. So that is just a little recap of the kinds of metals. We won't go into the uses because I'm going to give you some examples of exam questions to go through. So I'll put an exam question on the screen. We'll break down the marking for it and how to answer the question, and then if you can pause the video and try and answer the question yourself. So realistically, with the exams, you're going to have to apply two or more topics together in question. So it might well be that there's a metals question, but then that'll be part of it, and the next part will ask you about metal processes, or it might ask you to compare a metal product to a wooden product. So you need to be able to apply that knowledge across two different topics. So first question, you should have seen this one before. So name a specific metal for the sink, 1 mark. Explain in detail why the metal you've named is suitable, and then use notes and diagrams to explain in detail how the sink has been formed. So a total of 15 marks. I'll give you a breakdown of the question. So the first one, name a specific metal for the sink. So that is 1 mark. So that's a simple response. Just state, you don't need any explanation, you just don't need to go with that. Part B is explain in detail why that metal you've named is suitable, 6 marks. So broken down, realistically, that's 3 points to explain the properties, because that's why it's asking you how is it suitable. You need to talk about the properties of that material. So 3 marks for 3 properties, and then another 3 marks to explain how that relates to the sink. So question C, which is 8 marks. So use notes and diagrams to explain in detail how the sink has been formed. Now, if it says use diagrams, you've got to use diagrams, otherwise you're not going to get the full marks. If you were to just do bullet points and explain it, you would get some marks, but if it specifically says use diagrams, you've got to make sure that you use them. So 8 marks in total, so realistically that's 4 points, and then explain it as well gets you got 8 marks. So a point for bringing something up that's relevant, and a point for explaining it. It's worth noting as well, once you've already brought something up, you've got the mark for it, don't then repeat it again, because you're not going to get the same mark twice. They're not going to award you the mark for the same answer again. So what I'd like to do now, if possible, pause it, have a go answering it. You can use your notes and your textbook as well, but then in a second I'm going to put the answers on the screen, so please do pause it, have a chance to answer the questions. So so name a specific metal of the sink, things like stainless steel, aluminium, aluminium alloy, beryllium. Most commonly people probably said stainless steel. So B, so explain it in detail why the metal you've answered is suitable. So if I say most people probably chose stainless steel, that's the one I would have gone for. So things like doesn't corrode when it's exposed to moisture or air, so it doesn't look untidy. It's malleable, so it's easy to form. It's ductile, so we can press into shape quite easily. It looks nice. It's hard, which means it's scratch resistant. If you're ever not sure, when it tells you, asks you why it's suitable, think about the product it's actually shown you and just try and have an educated guess. So if it's, for example, a sink, you know that it will have to be corrosion resistant. You know that, okay, in a sink there's going to be water, there's going to be bleach. It needs to be able to withstand that. It needs to withstand scratching. So you can sort of reverse engineer an answer based on what it's given you. And then C, so use notes and diagrams to explain in detail how the sink has been formed. So that will have been done with blanking. So there is a diagram on the right hand side to explain blanking. Now, in the exam paper, they're not going to expect a perfect, well-drawn thing as long as your diagram is clear. So what the best thing to do with diagram is draw your diagram out, and you can have bullet points next to it just explaining it. So basically, your stainless steel sheet would be unrolled from stock form and straightened out. You will then have the sheet will be punched into blanks with a hydraulic press. So the blanks are transferred to a press where they're then clamped, and the press pushes the sheets into shape. So slowly, with pressure, it will form the shape. There may be several presses to achieve the shape, so they may have to go down a couple of times to make it go deeper, or if they're going to have punching in it, if they're going to have plugs or taps or anything like that, so to stop it from overflowing. So just remember, if it says use diagrams to explain your answer, you've got to make sure you're using diagrams, otherwise you can't physically get more than half marks. So the next one, so match the following fabrication methods to the applications in the table below: soldering, MIG welding, arc welding. So in this case, it's quite simple. This is multiple choice. You can only use each method once. So again, pause the video, have a go at answering it. You can use your textbook in your notes, but I'm going to put the answers on in a second, so please just pause it so you get a chance to answer it yourself. Okay, so drilling aluminium to aluminium, that will be MIG welding. Copper to copper for jewelry, soldering because it requires less heat, and drilling mild steel to mild steel will be arc welding or MIG welding. So if you put MIG welding, you won't be able to put it for aluminium. So I mean, if you put MIG or arc, you'd be right for either one, but remember you can only use each method once. Next question, so name a specific metal for the bench, and then explain in detail why the metal you have named in part A is suitable. So remember, as I said before, we went through these questions, you're going to have to mix or join more than one theory together. So far, all the questions have asked you the metal, which is fine, which just covers the metals topic, but then they've asked you to talk about the processes that go with it as well. So we really are combining two topics together. So the first question, so name a specific metal for the bench, that's 1 mark, dead simple. That is just name a suitable material and no explanation needed. So the next one, explain in detail why the metal you named is suitable. So that is 6 marks. So like before, 3 points and then an explanation for your second point gets you 6 marks in total. So you can talk about the properties of the material and or the manufacturing processes as well, because it's not specified exactly, it will be up to you, it's fine. So specific material for the bench, probably again most people have said stainless steel. You could add mild steel or aluminium. And then examples of why the metal has been named is suitable. So if you said stainless steel, it's very hard material, so it's not going to scratch, it can't be vandalized easily, doesn't corrode, withstand weather, so it's not going to rust and fall apart, and so it looks nice as well, so it's attractive. Next question, so name 3 ferrous and 3 non-ferrous metals by completing the table below, and then it asks you to go over more detail. Next question, so for one of the metals you've named in part A, give a suitable use, and then give 2 reasons why this metal is suitable. So your ferrous metals, you could have had mild steel, stainless steel, high carbon steel, cast iron or carbon steel, and then your non-ferrous metals, aluminium, copper or silver. So with a question like this, because it's asking to use your answer from part A into part B, if you don't get part A right, you then can't get the rest of the marks for the rest of the question. So it's important you get the next question right. So if you think something like silver, then obviously it can be something like jewelry. And then why is that suitable? Because it can be soldered to make rings, it can be polished so it's attractive and it looks nice. So name a suitable metal for the toaster body. 1 mark, and then explain why this metal is suitable for the toaster body, 6 marks. So remember what we talked about before with the breakdown of questions. So 1 mark is quite simple, an explanation. 6 marks, okay, so that's 3 marks for 3 parts for being right, and then the next 3 marks for your explanation. So typically you would get a separate insert in your exam paper that would have your coloured pictures of the product, and it will tell you what it is, and it'll ask you to talk about a certain part. So if this one specifically, it's looking at the metal toaster body. So again, you probably could have said stainless steel. That's always a really good one if it's most things, and then aluminium alloy. So stainless steel, good aesthetic look, so it looks nice in most modern kitchens. It's malleable, so it's really easy to press and form into shape. Stainless steel doesn't corrode, so it gives good hygiene. Yeah, so again, most people, stainless steel is coming up quite a lot, but it's a very, very good product and used quite a lot in industry. So match the finishes listed below to the materials and applications given: galvanizing, dip coating, chrome plating, acrylic based paint. So again, multiple choice question. Have a look through your notes, try and answer them, and then pause it and we'll go through the answers. So mild steel would be galvanizing, bathroom taps would be chrome plating, car bumper would be acrylic based paint, and steel pliers would be dip coating. So that is the end of the revision for metals. I will put up a video of last year, first year metals as well, for you to go over it if you're not sure as well. But the whole point with the second year revision is making sure you can just take the information you've got and try and practice and applying it to exam questions. If you've got any questions, please drop me an email and I'll do my best to make a video tutorial for you, or just email you a reply. Thank you.